Yeah, boy, me oh. Yeah, mon child, yawa.
Hello, ladies. How are you? I hope everything's going well on your side. If this is your first time stopping by, I share my views and opinions when it comes to motherhood and when it comes to womanhood. I do believe that as mothers, our mental health and physical health needs to be on point in order for us to provide a healthiest environment for our children. If you hear any noises in the background, sometimes my baby could be very active in the household. I don't live too far away from the subway, so you may hear the train here and there, but I will try my best to edit the video and reduce the background noises when I edit the video. I am not obligating you to follow any of my tips or strategies. I'm not here to tell you how you should raise your child, girl. Whatever I tell you guys are from my conversation with peers and from my researches and from what resonates to me. But you are free to implementing them into yours. With that being said, welcome to Specially Mama. Who should be allowed to discipline your child? That's a question I think every parent needs to ask themselves before thinking or even leaving their child with anyone else. We have heard news where children are being abused by the closest friend, the closest family member, and that is something that I want all of us to try to avoid as much as possible. And before you even think of conceiving a child, you have to ask yourself those questions. Who would I be comfortable leaving my child with when I'm absent? I do understand that in different circumstances people conceive children, and no one is here to judge anyone. This is not a judgmental zone, so you do what you feel like resonates to you. But we raise our children based on what we think is the right things. We make choices for them based on what we think resonates to us and is the right choices for them. So you have to keep in perspective whenever you decide to leave your child with someone. You have to make sure their ways of seeing life, their ways of raising a child align with your ways. Do this person share the same values as me and the same morals as me? It's not about just because we went to school, we have attended the same school for years, we've known each other for years, we live in the same neighborhood for years. Those factors are great, but they're not sufficient. You have to make sure that the people you are hanging out with heal from them traumas, especially when you think of leaving your child with them, because you don't know what is the certain trigger that may happen whenever they're around your child by themselves, and it may lead to a devastating news. So you want to avoid that. I agree with the proverb that it takes a village to raise a child, but who are the members in the village that you will allow to raise your child? And I also want to point that whenever people hear the word discipline, the first thing that comes in mind is whooping, spanking. And I'm not here to dictate the method that you utilize in your household. It's about teaching your child how to be responsible, teaching them values, teaching them morals of how they could one day act upon what you have taught them in the household when they become older. Because you have to keep in mind that your children are not going to stay with you forever. When they become adult, they will also be leaders in their household. They will also have their children depending on them. So you disciplining them and raising them plays a big role on how they will grow up to be. Of course, your child is not always going to end up exactly how you envision, because they will have their mind of their own and feel like, okay, maybe your method was not effective on them. And that also goes by to say that you can grow up with your siblings in the same household, but you also have to ask yourself if there are the right people for you to allow to discipline your children, because you guys, okay, had the same techniques being used on you when you were younger, but then you can grow up and feel like, okay, what was used on me as a disciplinary method, I don't agree with that, so I will not use that same techniques on my child. It goes as far as choosing the partner you want to conceive with. And again, I understand that people conceive children under so many different circumstances, but everything we do in life is to avoid making erroneous decision that can later be a regret. There's no book that says how to be the perfect parent, but we try our best to provide the safest environment and the safest place for our children, especially when we're not around them. It goes as far as researching the school your children will be attending. So you have to put that in perspective, because it is very important, and it could alter how much values you instill in your child, how much morals you instill in your child, and how you preparing them for adulthood. I also want to mention that there is nothing wrong with taking advice and tips from other people, but only when it resonates with you, only when your intuition is telling you that this is the right thing and this is something that will be useful for the way your child is behaving. And that is the great thing also about the internet, is that there is a broad introduction of so many different techniques that you can utilize on your child and make sure that you will be using the right one. Of course, as parents, we will be making mistakes, but as I always say, there is nothing wrong with owning up to your mistake. I wanted to just have this discussion with you guys, and hopefully you guys was able to take something from it. I'm eager to know what is your intake on what I just talked about. Like, who do you allow to discipline your child and why? And all these people share the same values as you. And yeah, I'm very eager for you to let me know that in the comment below. And if you're following me from Facebook, don't forget to like my page and share my videos. If you're following me from YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like my video. With that being said, I wish you the best and a great day with you and your family. Take care and bisous. Bye.